What's going on, everyone? Juicebags here, and welcome back to some Dungeon Defenders 2. With Dungeon Defenders 2 being a free-to-play game, there is always new players coming to the game. With that in mind, new players are always asking, what is the biggest tip you would give? Now, one challenge that new players have with putting together builds and progressing through the game is every single spreadsheet out there and every build guide out there and every build whatever suggestion out there is always referring to endgame. Now, endgame has a largely different process than early game does. First off, mods themselves don't hit their maximum quality until they get to Chaos 8. So using a 10 of 10 Chaos 1 defense rate mod, for example, is not going to get you where you want to be. Lots of players are so focused on mods in the game by looking at all of the endgame build guides that they ignore the largest factor of the game and the biggest building block the game has to offer. This, of course, is being shards. Now, I think it is well known and well established out there that the greatest quality of life you can potentially ever get in Dungeon Defenders 2, particularly with spending any real life money, is more inventory space. The game is a game of collecting. You're going to want to have lots of inventory space. Additionally, you're going to want to have lots of vault tabs. And on top of that, you're going to want to be able to sell things to other players and have lots of sale slots available for your character to interact with the community. So without question, when it comes to starting right out of the gates, if you started playing Dungeon Defenders 2 with a package or whatever, get yourself some inventory, as it is just absolutely huge. Now, after that, and particularly with Defender medals, of course, as is naturally expected in every game, you want to save up and you want to unlock your first hero. However, one important thing to note is all heroes are junk without shards, as shards are the building block in the game. So, as I mentioned and have been mentioning for years and years, just focus on the shards, y'all. Shards are the most important thing, and shards will get you through the game. So, if you're going to spend your Defender medals early, or if you're going to spend real-life money early on gems, the thing you want to purchase outside of inventory space, of course, in regards to progression and getting through the game, is shards. As I mentioned, getting a new hero is super exciting and everything, but that hero is not going to add a whole lot to your build without having any shards to go by. Now, shards you can see listed out right here by tier, and there is some very important shards in every tier that you want to focus on. Additionally, you always want to be moving forward. So, I mean, by all means, don't let me or anyone else tell you how to play the game, as it's your experience and your level of fun is in part by choosing your own experience. However, if you're going to grind in an earlier tier or try to fine-tune anything, shards are where you want to be your focus. In fact, mods didn't even enter the game until after Chaos 7 was already out, and the game was not rebalanced for mods. So as long as you have shards in place, using literally any positive mods will just blast you through the early game. So do not focus on the mods. The shards are where it's at, y'all. So looking through these tiers, in the campaign tier, you don't have anything super valuable. You've got defense crit damage, which is nice, but your defense crit chance is super low at this stage, so you're not getting a whole lot of value out of defense crit damage. As far as campaign shards go, without a doubt, the greatest quality of life shard in campaign, in my personal opinion, is speed boost. Everybody wants to run faster. Get yourself some speed boost from the campaign. Now, moving on to Chaos 1. Chaos 1, you get a huge bump and that is destruction. Increases the defense power of the affected tower. this is the most valuable shard, the MVS, in Chaos 1, without a doubt. Now, in addition, if you're using the base heroes, there is a lot of progression is based around flame auras. Flame auras are going to get a lot of value from destruction right out of the gates. Now, in Chaos 2, there is not a whole lot of just game-changing Chaos 2 shards. Now, once again, with that flame aura, you do get encroaching flames, which is super, super nice early game. It's super nice late game as additional mod slot, or shard slot, pardon me. However, Chaos 2 does not have a ton of shard value as far as basic building blocks and basic progression. Now moving on to Chaos 3, you get another big jump in Chaos 3, and that is Deadly Strikes. Increases the defense range of the affected tower. This is just huge. If your towers have more range, they're hitting enemies more often, as they can hit at a greater range and hit the enemies for longer as they're passing through the range. So more range is definitely a good thing. Now, in Chaos 4, you get the absolute game changer, and that is defense rate. Defense rate early on, prior to Chaos 8, is the most important shard in the entire game. Defense rate will change your entire defense's power around. Now, you might say, oh, I'm using a defense rate mod. This defense rate mod is not going to do anything for you at this tier compared to defense rate. Defense rate is just super, super powerful. Now, these three shards, defense rate from Chaos 4, Deadly Strikes from Chaos 3, and Destruction from Chaos 1, are truly the building blocks of the entire game. Now, when you get to endgame, you may not finding yourself using defense rate or Deadly Strikes because you're getting enough range and rate from other sources, freeing up more shard slots for more power gains. So everything always comes down to the big three things with building out a defense. Get to or as close to the speed cap as you can on a defense. Top priority. That's where defense rate comes in. Then finding the range you're happy with. That is where Deadly Strikes comes in. And then stacking as much power as you can, and that is where destruction and various forms of power come in. So, my personal suggestion, and remember, I know that it's fun to unlock new heroes, but just realize the effectiveness that you're going to get out of a new hero with no shards is going to be very limited. If you want to progress through the game faster, then use your defender medals on getting shards. And the game, you will find, is not just a matter of getting yourself one defense rate shard. You're going to want a whole lot of defense rate shards. You don't want just one destruction shard. You're going to want a whole lot of destruction shards. So just getting one is not going to get the job done for you. You're going to want these shards on every defense you have that deals damage early in the game. So shards are the building blocks of the game. They cannot be ignored. Anyone that is struggling, or 9 times out of 10 anyway, or I could even say 99 times out of 100, any new player that's struggling that asks me questions about the game, they always prioritize mods, and they've got a bunch of low-quality mods that are the proper mods for endgame, but they don't have the correct shards, and they're not realizing the power of these mods, because these mods are not at Chaos 8 or require higher quality quite yet. So focus on shards. Shards are the building block. Completely ignore mods. If you find a mod that has a positive value, even if it's lower tier, like, say, what do we have? Let's find a good example here. Why do I have some of these saved up? I'm not really sure. Say anti-melee. You know, obviously this is a 9 out of 10, but say it was a 1 out of 10 and it was, you know, a lower tier mod. This is going to give you a positive value. So by all means, add it in. However, if you don't have the right shards, this mod is not going to do a whole lot for you. Now, when getting to the speed cap in a game, you do need, prior to having gilded shards, of course, if you have a gilded defense rate shard, for example, you are going to get to the speed cap of all the defenses in the game just with having that defense rate. Now, prior to having it gilded, of course, you're going to need the shard and a mod. So just having the shard will get you through the base game's progression. To fully maximize prior to getting to Chaos 8, you're going to need to have a defense rate shard and any quality defense rate mod to get you as close to or to the speed cap of a defense as you can. Now, in addition to that, shards are eternal, y'all. Shy of doing an Ancient Power reset, and then once you get the shards gilded, there is nothing that will de-level these. So as you're an early game player, Ancient Power reset should not be something that's on your agenda yet. By investing your gold into upgrading shards, you are investing into something that you're going to be using for a long, long time. So if I decided to go ahead and spend the 134,000 gold to upgrade this defense or this Deadly Strikes shard, this shard is going to stay upgraded. I'm going to be able to use it in Chaos 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 without making any more investment. So get your shard game dialed in, y'all. The game is all about shards. That is the building block of the game, and that will greatly increase your productivity and your success rate as you progress through. But that will do it for now. Thanks an absolute ton for watching, and I will see you next time around. Take it easy.